Hello and welcome to today's Wholehearted Living podcast episode with your host Deb Thorpe. And today we are diving into this invitation and this concept of when you feel or experience or can relate to the call from the wild. So let's do this. So I wanted to bring this concept of the wild into the podcast series, as it's currently a shift that's going on within myself, but within other clients and other people that I can see. And there's almost like this really deep call or desire, and almost like an inner urge to almost rewild ourselves, where we want to experience the freedom of living outside of the box, of living outside of convention, wanting to experience the freedom of breaking free from that, and really almost get back in touch with our very ancient ancestral roots of the knowledge we would have gained from being immersed in nature far more, and trusting our instincts more, being more in touch with our intuition and our inner wisdom. Like I'm seeing a real shift around at the moment of people craving this connection and feeling this inner shift, this inner call. And timing wise, we ended up watching a film last week, which was this title, The Call from the Wild. And I won't ruin it by giving you the whole storyline, but the general gist was a dog that got taken from his normal, very suburban life, and through various different journeys found himself then with someone who took him out into the wilderness, right? And from there he began to activate his really ancient instinctual traits and characteristics that dogs would have had from evolving from wolves, right? And then he ends up finding a wolf pack and really finding his place within that. And it really got me thinking about our role of what happens when we initially hear that call from the wild, from that part of us that is calling us to really open up and embrace who we truly are, right? So what happens when we first hear that call or feel that urge? And then the environment with which we place ourselves that enables us to really connect and enhance that. So this episode is really about that invitation of what we do when we can feel the call of that wild within us. Now, I'm delving into the world of archetypes at the moment, and I find them a really helpful way of being able to understand different parts of ourselves and different parts of our psyche and our personality. And for me, I never get caught up in whether these are actual things or whether it's just concepts we have formulated as human beings to help our understanding. I think if these resonate for you, then absolutely delve into them, because I think it can be really helpful to think about different archetypes and different traits that we can draw upon to help us navigate and draw out certain parts of ourselves. So when I think about the call to the wild, it really makes me think about the wild woman archetype. So there's generally 4 different archetypes of like the feminine. The Wild Woman is one of them, and she's known, or her characteristics are the mystic, the creative, the freedom seeker. Okay, she's the one that wants you to embrace your instincts and your intuition, and that may mean disrupting what you believe your life should look like or who you should be in certain roles. So I've always been drawn to this concept of the Wild Woman. I can think back to my teenage years when I started really investigating this archetype, because there's something about the wildness of her energy, right, that it's really alluring, because she by nature is unpredictable and untamable, but she is very deeply connected to her intuition, to her inner wisdom, to the wisdom that exists in nature. And so, you know, so many of these archetypes are suppressed. And if you're interested in archetypes, Carl Jung is the person to research on this. He came up with lots of archetypes. Many of them existing in our shadow self, so they have been pushed into our own darkness, and you can see this on an individual level and on a societal level. So, you know, I do encourage you to do some research around archetypes if this is something that is interesting for you, because it's a really fascinating subject. And the Wild Woman is one of those archetypes that's been suppressed over the years. You know, this is not new information. Now, when we think about the repression that's existed of anything that has not been deemed ladylike or feminine over the years, you know, like passion, sexuality, creativity, intelligence, rage, injustice, be like having a voice, screaming, shouting, like, you know, the Wild Woman is not someone who can be contained. Okay, and there's, you know, when we think about societal norms and everything else, she is a threat to that. And so, you know, for all the years that I've done research about the Wild Woman archetype, it's one of the most repressed parts of our psyche, because it's almost become embedded within our DNA to conform, you know, to not stand out, to not be too much, to regulate our hormones, our emotions, you know, we have grown up living to try and conform to the box that has been created. So there can be huge fear in delving into this Wild Woman archetype. And so I just wanted to give you a few pointers that can help if you're really interested in this, because, you know, when we talk about freedom and fulfillment and passion and purpose, I don't believe we fully get there without integrating this wildness within. And for as much as it can be a scary journey to start on, it's a deeply, deeply empowering one. Like, once you're in touch with your Wild Woman archetype, you almost, there's almost a fierceness that lives within her that enables you to walk your own path and carve out what you want for your life, and who you are and live authentically, and have the courage to do that. It's almost like, okay, it might mean leaving or walking away from what society deems is normal or what is acceptable, but you will be embodying the fierceness and the courage of the wild woman that is going to help you to walk your own path, which means that you will experience the freedom, the creativity, the passion, the aliveness, the freedom that comes with that. So I'm going to put this with a little caveat as well, because when I think about these archetypes, they're really ancient, they're really deeply embedded in our psyche. Okay, but it doesn't mean that reawakening this archetype within you is going to somehow I don't know. I think, if I think about the image I have of a world woman, I'm thinking about the woman with long braided hair who's, almost like warrior-like, living in the forest, right? So I think we can have a perception that somehow by integrating and getting to know these archetypes within ourselves, that we're somehow then going to become that. Like, we're going to have to go and give up everything in our normal life and go and make a little house in the forest somewhere, and I don't, we're not jumping out of one box to go into another here. The way that these archetypes work within you and work within your psyche is via your individual personality and expression. And one of the things that really halted me for many, many years in my own spiritual journey was that I knew I didn't fully, particularly when I was running my first business, actually, I knew I didn't fully fit into the typical business model. I wasn't coming from this capitalist, profit-driven sense. That wasn't why I was doing business. I didn't fit into a lot of the business molds and the business community. But whenever I kind of put my, dip my toe into the spiritual pool, I didn't fit that either, because there were so many people that were, I guess, so polar opposite to that weren't driven at all, that almost wanted to deny the physical existence and live in this like pure energy like kind of world, and that wasn't me either. And so I was like, oh, I actually don't know what this all means, and maybe I'm just a bit of a weirdo, and that halted my journey for a long time. And so I really just want to reiterate here now, when we do any of this work of getting to know different parts of ourselves, I explore this in different podcast episodes where you play around with all the different characters and all the different parts of you as you are the director. This archetype work is very similar, okay, in that the way that those archetypes will emerge and the information that they will give to you will be unique to you, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be changing your whole life, right? There's going to be gentle invitations through this whereby it might just be gentle nudges. Okay, so in the beginning it could be you are getting more in touch with your intuition. So you accessing your wild woman archetype within you means that you are going to start paying more attention to your inner world, your inner knowing, your intuition. Okay, maybe it's you choosing to prioritize yourself and your own needs, wants, passions, callings, rather than you being at the bottom of the list of everybody else around you, that you begin prioritizing yourself more. Maybe it's acknowledging that you actually need to be outside in nature more. You know, this is something that I learned over the years, is that because I was really delving down into this wild woman archetype from quite a young age, I learned how important nature is to me. Like, I am one of those people where I actually feel nature. It physiologically changes me when I am in different natural environments. So when I feel that call or that desire to go for a walk, do something, be outside, I know I have to honour that, because there's something within my system that needs whatever that environment is going to provide. And it always does, 100% of the time. You know, I'm someone who feels the power of the changing weather, of the sunrise and the sunset, of that. Like, I deeply, deeply feel all of that. And so it's important that my life incorporates that. Okay, a big part of the move to Italy was I am literally in the middle of a national park, in the mountains, by the lake, surrounded by rivers. Like, I'm immersed in it from the second I step out of the door. That's really, really important to me. For other people, and it's okay if you happen to be around other people that's not their experience. You know, I've been walking with other people where they can just look around and go, okay, that's nice, but it doesn't fundamentally shift them. Like, they don't feel it in every cell of their body. So, you know, once again, as with all of this work, with all of these invitations, is doing so without judgment. You know, we're really wanting to strip the judgment away, so you can honor this call, this exploration of the wild woman, or you know, there's lots more, the queen, you know, whatever that calling is within you. You can give yourself permission to explore that, and it be okay if other people around you don't get it, or they don't have that same calling or that same experience. So the last point I want to make about this particular archetype is the creativity that comes with activating your wild woman archetype. She embodies such huge passion, and a lot of her energy and purpose will come from some form of creativeness. Now, I don't necessarily mean that in the, you know, you'll become an artist or a poet or a writer, but it means that you will need to integrate, or she will certainly invite you to integrate some form of creativity into your life. I mean, there's infinite amounts of forms of how that happens, but I would definitely be curious and give yourself permission to explore what you feel prompted to, or what you feel drawn towards when you think about creatively expressing yourself, your true self, your soul's calling, if you like. So that would be my invitation to you, if you can feel that call of the wild within. If you are feeling that, you know, sometimes it can come out in agitation and frustration with life. You know, you can be looking around at it and feel disconnected and feeling like no one else gets it. You feel very alone, actually. You can begin to feel quite restricted, quite trapped. So that might be how you're being introduced to the call of the wild, is that you start to get very frustrated and angsty at life as it is at the moment, and you can feel the call for more, and you want to, it's almost like this feeling of you want to unleash your true self, and you want to unleash that what's the word, you kind of almost want to free yourself from the reins, is what I would say. So you have that real desire to just no longer be living in the box, no longer be tied down by what you think you should be or what society thinks. You really want to start awakening this sheer freedom of your very soul. Okay, so that's kind of that invitation. And alongside that, if you feel called to a particular environment that can help you do that, whether it is some form of retreat where you're with others that are also going on this journey, so you've got that shared experience, or whether it's going to a particular part of the world, or whether it's carving out your own little piece of wilderness wherever you are, like honor that within yourself. I know for me that's definitely the direction of where all of this is going at the moment. I'm going to update you in a couple of podcast episodes time of the future vision of all of this, because for me, I deeply love in-person work, and I'm currently in one of the most amazing locations for this kind of transformational work. And so the focus over the next year is definitely going to be creating some really beautiful, amazing experiences where you can really embrace all of you, all the parts of you, all of your different archetypes. We can play, heal, and come together and do so in one of the most special environments I've ever been in. So keep your eyes peeled on that one. If you haven't done so already, please do sign up to the mailing list. And not only do you get lots of extra goodies every week, but you will also be the first to hear of anything that gets released. So I hope you enjoyed that introduction to the wild woman archetype and what to do if you can feel that call of the wild. And do let me know if this resonates for you and how you're feeling and experiencing that call to the wild. Okay, until next time, bye for now.